everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 3 of Dyson Sphere Program, where today I'm planning to really focus on research. The last couple episodes, we've been automating a handful of things, right? So we've got a significant amount of our resources being automated, which is great. I now have access to a lot of the components that we're going to need to craft some things. So a few things I want to get going. I'd like to automate some of the commonly used buildings, things like conveyor belts and sorters. I'd like to focus heavily on research today. So specifically I want to start automating electromagnetic matrices, which luckily uses two of the things we've already started automating. What we've got set up in this little area is very much a temporary setup. There will be significant modifications to this. The nice thing about Dyson Sphere Program and most of the other factory style games is you can break down and rebuild your base without any loss of resources, so there's no harm. It's almost encouraged to, like, you know, set up something temporary and small, break it all down and rebuild it more efficiently later on. And that's kind of the plan here. But since I really want to make sure that I've got, you know, everything running properly, I'm going to go ahead and start focusing on getting us some research going on. So, real simple. I'm not going to go too crazy for now. I'm just going to expand out a few of these guys. And let's get ourselves a few more. What do I need? I need more glass in order to do these things. And that's one of the guys that I don't have automated at the moment is glass. Maybe we should also get that raw material processing and going. So glass and stone are both made from raw stone. So if we take a look here, it's 2 raw stone turned into glass, or 1 raw stone turns into stone bricks. And those are both made in a smelting facility. Cool. So let's let these things start finishing. And it's funny, I've played this game in the past, and you kind of get used to the advanced mech and how quickly things can be built with higher tier robots and drones and all that stuff. It's very different when you're starting over again because you forget how slow everything can be. But let's pop down here and get us cooking some glass. So what I'm going to probably do, you know what, I don't know that much is what I need, but what I'll do is we're going to want a little bit more of this stuff. That should be good, I think. So I'm going to pop one here, and I'm going to pop one here. I'll make this my glass line, and I'll make this my stone line. Does that sound cool? And then I should be able to do this and this, and then something like this and that. And again, probably pretty temporary is what I'll have set up here. We're gonna want some power cooking. Aha! Nice. Up and running. And then we can probably run these guys something like this. Now I'm running into another resource area here. There is a way to solve that problem that I'm running into, which is I'm bumping into some resource nodes here, some very small ones. I just can't solve it yet. There's a technology I need to research to solve this issue. So we'll just deal with this issue kind of a messy way for now. Let's get a couple of these crafted. Not too shabby. What I'll do is something like this. Cool. Again, mostly because I want to work around the fact that I'm running into that little issue. Cool. Alright, so then we should be able to export from here and here. And then I should also be able to copy like that. How great is that? Huh? How cool is that? The copying mechanic. Maybe I don't want that many. Alright, that should get me some stone and some glass cooking for a bit. And just like with my other resources, I'll kind of limit how many of those we stock up on. But that should be good for a start. Not too shabby. But you know what? I see what I did. Bad direwolf. I should have copied these two for the glass. Much smarter. Much smarter, direwolf. Good job. Yeah, now we're cooking. Cooking, cooking, cooking. And it's more than reasonable to assume that we're not going to have enough stone input here. So what I'm going to want to do is something like this. I can probably do that just fine. Cool. And then tap these guys into that thing. And suddenly, enough raw stone material coming in. Now, there are going to be better belts coming up really soon, so it's not something we have to worry too much about. You know, but we'll get there. I can probably load you up there. That's awesome. Good. Populate that guy in there. Sun's going down again. There he is. Hi, sun. So I'm going to make sure that I've got some glass and some stone bricks in my inventory here, just to maintain, if you will, having enough stuff. I think that's pretty good. So bricks we're making 60 per minute. Glass is 30 per minute. Again, as we start getting more advanced with our crafting, we're going to want to pay attention to those numbers, because it's very important to keep track of how many you're making. Another little trick, by the way, is this game gives you something very handy. It's the statistics panel. You can open up the statistics panel here and find out how much of each resource you're producing and consuming over a period of time. And you can filter that to 1 minute, or 10 minutes, or an hour, or 10 hours for that matter, right? I haven't been playing for 10 hours, but you get the idea. So over the past minute, we can see how much stone we're producing and how much stone we're consuming. You can see the same for coal production and consumption, right? So you can check these metrics and determine if you're producing enough stuff. For example, we're producing, 60-some iron ingots per minute, and we're consuming 0, which means that we're overproducing iron, we're not using it for anything, and that's good news. With our coal power, for example, if we had a bunch of power plants up there, we would rapidly see that we're consuming more coal than we're producing, and that's bad news. It means we're not producing enough. And then, that's something we'd have to address. Cool. So that's something that we're going to be paying a lot of attention to, the statistics panel, in the near future. You'll also notice there's another drop down here that we'll talk about further in the future. So let's get into research now. I'm going to build one more of these because I want 6 in total. So let's build our very first research station. I'm going to build a little further away from here, just so that if I want to add more of these guys, I can. And that's something I might wind up doing. I'm already considering whether I want to, refactor how this works. We'll see. But for now, let's configure you to be producing blue cubes, and then you're going to need this and that, right? And are you making blue cubes now? Nice. Beautiful. Now, I should be able to show you guys something cool. Remember I said this is a vertical game? Well, some buildings can stack on top of each other, and the factory, or the Matrix Lab, is one of them. So you can actually build 3 matrix labs on top of each other, and what will happen is this will feed the resources into the bottom one, and then it'll start filling up the top one, and then eventually it'll fill up the very top one. So it kind of builds its way up. So you can see with the circuit boards here, we're filling this up here. Now we're starting to fill up circuit boards here. We're clearly not, putting enough magnetic coils in. So what I might do, again, because we don't have access to the faster sorters yet, is something like that, and now we'll start getting magnetic coils a little bit more quickly. How cool is that? And once the bottom one fills up, the middle one will start processing, and then the top one will start processing. So vertical building is absolutely a thing, and we will have access to increase our vertical building capabilities somewhere. Vertical construction. +1 layer storage vertical construction, +2 layers lab vertical construction. So there's a whole research tree about vertical construction. Generally speaking, it's just storage blocks and labs at the moment that you can vertically construct. So you can't vertically construct, for example, your assembly machines. You can do labs, and you can also do storage containers. So if I wanted to vertically construct this, you can. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead, now that we've got that cooking. Is that enough for now, probably? Debating how I want to do this, but what I'll probably want is something like this. And then what we can have is 3 of these. Like so. Now what I'm going to do is change the recipe for this to be actually this. And remember, you can use like the copy and paste. Load copied. Oh, this changes the whole stack when I change that. Right. Got it. Yeah. So because they're stacked, they have to have the same, so that changed the whole stack. So now I can basically pick and choose what I want to start researching technology-wise. So, for example, if I wanted to research the improved logistics system, will give me access to higher tier sorters. That would be cool. And it also gives me access to the splitter, which is also useful. So let's activate this thing and see what happens. So by activating it, we'll see that we are now researching that across these 3 buildings here. How's my power production doing? That's a good question. We can either click on any one of these dudes to see our power satisfaction needs, or we can also bring up that statistics panel. There's a whole power section in here, and we can see generation capacity, consumption demand, all that good stuff. There's also batteries that will eventually unlock. That'll give us more details as to, how we're doing. So maybe now's a good time to increase our power system. Let's go ahead and throw more coal power plants down here. And I'll show you guys a nifty little trick. No fuel. Why do you keep flickering no fuel? Are you just not fast enough? My goodness, these sorters are slow. Not a big deal. We can solve this problem. Are you just too... Can I get you closer? I can. That might help. There you go. Sweet. Now, another cool trick you can do with thermal plants is collide with another object, huh? That should be fine. You can actually pipe your coal out of your thermal plants into adjacent ones. So notice that I've got a sorter that went down here because I copied it. It's going from this one into this one. Now, we are absolutely running into the problem of a curved planet, which is exactly what we have. We have a curved planet. Hey, look at that. We just unlocked this thing. Sweet. So we're going to have to deal with that eventually. Let's upgrade and try out our new fancy dude here. Now, this requires electric motors, which we haven't researched yet, and therefore I can't yet produce, but we'll have to add that soon. But there's 2 ways this works. Number 1, we can just go ahead and place this the same way we would place other ones, right? There's also now, because we've got our first upgrade, you can upgrade facilities. So you can hit U for the hotkey, or you can just do this. And you'll notice that similar to the destruction, we have a single pointer or a big area of effect that we can use for upgrading. Like I said, I'm not sure about this chain mode thing, and this is actually new too. Whatever this is. Oh, downgrade. Oh, that's cool. That's neat. I like that. But if you want to upgrade your sorter here, just click it, and suddenly it's a lot faster. Obviously, keep in mind that that's now also going to require more power to transfer the items, but it's a lot quicker to transfer items onto belts. Very nice. Pretty cool. 3 per trip, where this is 1.5 per trip. So basically, it's twice as fast. Awesome. So we should be really good on power for a short period of time, which is always, of course, a nice thing. And if we come over here, we'll notice that these guys are consuming quite a few magnetic coils. Probably worth it to upgrade this dude. And maybe do something like this. Just because of the long distance that the sorter has to travel, having multiple of these is going to be important. So on account of the fact that we need electromagnetic drives, now is not a bad time to start researching that. And the research, as you can see, is pretty quick. It's not bad. And each research facility will increase the speed at which we're researching. So if we decide we want this to go faster, we can absolutely make that happen. Pretty cool. Alright, so that's keeping that guy up and running, and everything else is pretty good so far. So some basic research is happening, is always nice. Now I think that I'm going to pretty quickly here need to get that new thing cooking. So now we know how to make electromagnetic drives. Let's add a recipe assembler for this. So that's going to be iron plates plus gears plus electromagnetic assemblers, right? So that might be a little bit tricky to pull off with the current way I set up my stuff. But I was considering changing this up anyway, so let's do that. Here's how I'm going to handle this. You ready? I'm going to dismantle everything. Actually, I'm going to dismantle things like this. Goodbye, everything! The benefit of having rapid dismantling. It's pretty good way to go, honestly. What I would like to do is, instead of feeding into the storage containers and then feeding out of the storage containers, I'm going to have the storage containers be their own separate things that pull off the lines so that the lines can be adjacent to each other. So I'm going to make you gears. I'm going to make you circuits. And I'm going to make you... Well, maybe not. Actually, I should space these out a little better. Need foundation support? You're killing me, Smalls. We got to get foundations researched, is basically what it comes down to. And then you can be the electromagnetic assembly dudes. Cool. So then your job... And then we will do this, this, this. See how that works? So that we're still accumulating the resources in the chests, but they're now kind of just lined up differently on the belts. Now what I can do is I'm going to give myself a little bit of room here. Something like that. Now this is probably not going to be a permanent setup. I'm just doing some basic spitballing. So yours where I'm going to want to have the electric motors, right? So we want to combine... you and you with iron. Cool. Now, are you moving fast enough? You're absolutely not. What I might wind up doing is upgrading this and this. Now you should be exporting fast enough. Pretty darn close. Yes, definitely fast enough now. That's cool. Alright, then we can reset up our dudes here. So you'll be producing. Cool. And now they're cooking. Pretty good. And we'll start using the tier 2 sorters a lot more once we get more of this automation cooking. But the fact that it's already going is nice. Now, I'm pretty sure, unless anything's changed, the furthest you can go is 3 block spaces away. So if I want to export this somewhere, it's going to need to go somewhere else. So we're going to probably wind up refactoring this design again in the near future, but I just want to get the basics up and running and show you guys how basic factories work in this game. And then, like I said, we'll probably be tweaking stuff as time goes by. This is absolutely a terribly designed factory. It is not the way you're going to want to go by any stretch. What I actually might want to do is throw a quick one of these dudes in here. Actually, let's clear that out. I'm going to put one here. And you guys can be in research mode. And that should be cool. So let's get a new research going, shall we? What do we want? I would really like to get environmental modification if I can. That's going to require steel smelting, though. So let's kick off steel smelting and get that cooking. Because that's going to be a big deal. Now, I might want to upgrade this dude. And now I can make a bunch of these because we've got this stuff automated. For now, I'm probably going to just wind up storing you somewhere because I don't need them automated. I don't need to use these automatically yet. But very soon, that's something we're going to need a lot of. Trust me. Trust me. That's one of those things that you're going to need a lot of at some point. So maybe 2 stacks of that should be good. We'll see if that's fast enough. It should be. Yes, it definitely looks fast enough. Good. Yeah, because you can transfer about... Yeah, we're good. All right, so research is cooking along nicely. We're cruising right through getting our steel smelting process up and running. I'm feeling good about this. Steel smelting complete. You've mastered the steel smelting techniques, and now you can further smelt iron ingots to produce steel with better mechanical properties. So let's take a look at how steel is produced. So in components here, we're going to need steel. It has to be made in a smelting facility. This is the first item we cannot make in our inventory. So our mech here that's capable of doing a lot of things is not capable of smelting steel. We need to turn 3 iron ingots into 1 steel ingot. So to do that, I'm just going to come over here to my steel line. And what we're going to set up is a few of these bad boys. There we go. And I'm going to use the high-speed transfer dudes, and we're going to choose steel. And remember, you can copy and then paste with the left arrow and right arrow on your keyboard hotkeys. Okay. Pop down a little bit of power here. And again, probably not the best place for this to live. Now, outputting can be a little bit slower here. Because, remember, it's 3 to 1. Not going to be a bad idea to have a few extra containers here for cargo. Boom and boom. How cool is that? So I did the fast inserter because it's 3 iron ingots to 1. Now, as we're going to start saturating this line, it might not be a bad idea to start upgrading these dudes. See how much faster that runs now? Now, you'll notice this one's not running at all, so technically he's not necessary to keep this belt going. So the belt's capable of doing 6 items per second. These guys, the Mark II, can basically do 3 trips per second or 3 items per second. So what we're learning is that we can transfer 6 items per second with 2 greens, and a tier 1 belt can do 6 items per second, so that's all we need to keep that belt saturated. Make sense? Now for you, Mr. Steel, I'm going to keep you down to a decentish level, and we can immediately start looking at environment modification, which takes 400 researches, by the by. So that's going to probably take a minute for all of our stuff to run here, right? Quite a few blue cubes to get going. If we wanted to, we could speed this up a little bit. Right? And now we're researching twice as fast. Assuming that we're producing blue cubes fast enough, which we are probably not. But that's okay. Recipe copy operation. Hooray! That's the hotkey that I was just mentioning. Wow, it's like the game heard me. Hey, look, the sun's coming up. The sunrise in this game is definitely one of my favorite things. It's so cool. Just the whole simulation of how the planets work and all that good stuff, it's super great. Quick note, you can see your progress down here on the technology tree thing, so it's all good. Things are coming along nicely. We are, as predicted, not producing blue cubes fast enough. Nobody is shocked, I assure you. Or at least you shouldn't be. Are you not producing fast enough over here? You may not be getting iron fast enough. Yeah, you are not. So let's upgrade our iron line. That should get iron fast enough for you. So you're making 45 per minute here. And are you going to tell me... Well, what we could check is our statistics panel. We can check the production of circuits. So in the last 10 minutes, let's shrink this down to 1 minute. Production is now around 60 per minute. And consumption is around 45 per minute. Interesting. How come you're making 60 per minute? Because you should be making 45 per minute, but yeah, we'll see. He seems to be keeping up with demand, which is nice. What we could do is copy this bad boy. And that copies both the inputs and the outputs. So notice we got a green sorter Mark II for iron. How cool is that? How cool is that? Man, I really like the copy operation has significantly improved, is what I'll say. The copy operation has significantly improved, is all I will say about that. Collide with another object, huh? Let's expand you. Oh, because the belts weren't here already? It didn't do the copy. Alright, I mean, that makes sense. Sweet. Okay. Perfect. just to make sure. Right? So I kind of like the idea of having a little storage thing here. Now, if you're worried about things, what you could do is something like this. And now we are inserting twice as fast. Very cool, right? I don't know if that's necessary. I don't know how many of these we're producing per minute, honestly. We are definitely not producing enough magnetic coils per minute at this moment. That'll probably get better once this thing backstuffs. But as you can see, we're rapidly hitting the point where we're going to have to refactor this whole design again so that we can more efficiently handle the transferring of items. Right? It's going to be a little bit of a thing that we're going to have to deal with. Not a big thing, a little bit of a thing. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Environment modification. Research complete. We've unlocked the foundation, which can flatten the surface of the planet by either leveling mountains or filling in the ocean. If used to raise the land, it will consume soil piles, but if used to lower the land, it'll give soil piles. So it's a little thing that you may not have noticed too much just yet, is soil piles. So now that we have unlocked environment modification, I don't know if you've noticed, but as I've been placing things in the world like this, well, let's do something like this. See over here it says soil pile plus 837. So when you build things in this game, it automatically kind of flattens the terrain a little bit. And when you're building, you can also kind of see the terrain. It's a little bit, it's like hilly, right? There's like hills, there's valleys, there's oceans, and you can see the green lines are indicating to you, you know, what's going up versus what's going down. So if I were to like flatten this area like so, it's going to give me soil pile, right? Plus 904 soil. It gave me that, which is nice. When you go to use your environment modification, which can do a bunch of cool stuff, it can fill in the land. It can cover up water so that you can build on the watery areas. Part of the reason I've been focusing on environment modification is where I happen to start here is very watery. If we take a look at the map, you know, like there's a lot of water on this planet, more than I'm kind of used to seeing on a starting planet. So we need to be getting to environment modification sooner than later as a result. So now to get started in this, we're going to need these things, foundations. It's a combination of stone bricks and steel. So I'm going to get myself some stone bricks, and I'm going to get myself some steel. And what I'm going to do is make a bunch of them. And we'll probably build a machine that auto-crafts these for us. But I just want to show you what environment modification looks like before we wrap up this episode. The other thing you can do is hide veins with environment modification, which is cool. Veins bury or veins restore. So remember my problem over here? I'm going to bury the veins, and I'm going to place some foundation here. Notice that it literally covers them up.
A terrain leveling tool, yet we cannot use it to change the planetary landforms at will. We can only level the surface to ground zero. If the foundation is used for high grounds, it will gain soil pile. On the contrary, if it is used on the ocean or low-lying areas, it must consume soil pile. When installing the foundation, either choose a kind of decoration or without decoration, even only surface leveling.
Sweet. So you can see there's a couple decorative modes. So if you want to have like more of like a metallic floor kind of thing or a concrete-ish looking floor, you can do that. Or you can lay with no decoration, which will do this. Now you'll notice that as I'm making the changes here, it's not actually consuming foundation anymore. So when we did our first lay of the foundation, okay, if we take a look here, we'll see. I want to wait for this replicator to finish, basically, but you'll see how many foundation I have. I'm currently at, 77-ish. So to do a 3x3 area will cost me 9 foundation, right? So 82 went to 73. But then going forward, if you want to tweak the way things look, it doesn't cost any more foundation because the foundation's already there. You're just changing decorative designs. You can totally click and drag, by the way. And when you lay foundation, if you're flattening an area, kind of like it said, you're going to get soil pile. So see how I have 51,000 soil pile? Boom, now I've got 51.7. However, if you use foundation to raise some watery areas, it's going to consume soil pile. It gave me a little bit because the area that I raised wasn't all water. But if I do it like here, absolutely consuming soil pile. Cool. So that's pretty neat. So we can do decoration mode, or we can do not decoration mode. It's up to you guys how you want to do that, right? When you're in not decoration mode, when you have the foundation selected, you can kind of see what's been foundationed. It's like really very barely transparent, but it's kind of there. But then when you close out and you're no longer building, you don't see it at all, right? So there's literally, if you want to have dirt and grass be your foundation, cool. If you want it to be a decorative foundation, totally an option as well. All right, I think that's a good wrapping up point for the episode. So we've got some research cooking here. Where do we want to go next for research? Smelting purification would be a good one. I'm going to kick that off, and we'll come back next episode, see what that gets us, probably upgrade our mech a little bit. And now that we have access to this this doohickey, I'm absolutely going to want to start. You know what? I might even do this real quick. I'm absolutely going to want to start. You know what? I need more of these dudes. But basically, what I would like to do is automate the creation of these foundation dudes. Because you need a lot. Like, you think 100's a lot. 100 is nothing. You're going to need thousands and thousands and thousands of foundations if you're going to get to the point where you've got enough foundation. And the fact that I'm starting to see some flickering on my power is not a good sign. Tells me that we are probably not producing enough coal over here. So we're going to have to actually ramp that up as well. So for now, wrapping up point, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I can probably upgrade you. And make this better. But yeah, we're absolutely going to have to, you know, pay attention here. For now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time, and smelting purification's done. That's going to help us with our power problems. I'll show you how next time. All right, guys, take it easy.